Welcome to the biggest mosque in East Africa, the Gaddafi Mosque, and the origin of Kampala. This place is Kampala itself. Come, let me show you around.
All right. The place is called the Uganda National Mosque. You can call it the Gaddafi Mosque. It is East Africa's biggest mosque, and it is built at the origin of Kampala. This is the actual place which is named Kampala. In that if you've never been to this place, then you've not been to Kampala. You've just been around Kampala city. And whenever you visit this mosque, there are two activities that you're able to do. One of them is having a walk inside the mosque, and then the second activity is hiking 272 stairs to the top of the minaret. We take off the shoes. Yeah, 272 stairs to the top, and when you get to the top, you get the best 360-degree view of the entire Kampala city. You feel free to take pictures around. We have no limitations, meaning you can take as many as possible. The place is called the Uganda National Mosque or the Gaddafi Mosque. It is the biggest mosque in East Africa, and they say it is built at the origin of Kampala. When we say Gaddafi Mosque, the majority of the people, they get to run up to the famous gentleman, Muammar Gaddafi. Yes, that's true. Gaddafi was a Libyan president, and he was a great friend of Uganda. In that, to the point that he used to support Idi Amin, who was a third president of Uganda, and they were so great friends. Now, 1962, when Uganda became independent, we had the first president known as Sir Edward Mutesa II, who led Uganda for a space of 3 years, 1963 to 1966. When he was overthrown in 1966, the Prime Minister, Milton Obote, became the second president, who led Uganda for a space of 5 years. That was 1966 to 1971. He was overthrown by the army commander Idi Amin, who was a president of Uganda for a space of 8 years, 1971 to 1979. And when Idi Amin became a president of Uganda, he was Muslim. He donated this area to the Muslims of Uganda in 1972 and began the construction of this mosque in 1975. The construction didn't last for so long because in 1979 Idi Amin was overthrown, and therefore the construction of this mosque stopped. It stopped for 20 years until 2001 when Gaddafi, the Libyan president, visited Uganda. We requested for the funding. He accepted and sent the engineers from Libya to Uganda, who came and carried out research about the mosque of Idi Amin that was built 1975 to 1979, but it was already weak, and therefore the solution was to put everything down and start from scratch. So the new mosque we are seeing is built in 2002 to 2006, officially opened in 2008, naming it the Gaddafi Mosque. It is currently the biggest mosque in East Africa, accommodating over 25,000 worshippers, and the mosque has this section for the men. The other upper section is for the ladies. There is that outside terrace, and there is another mosque downstairs. It is designed to represent unity with a collection of designs from the different parts of the world. The wood is from the Democratic Republic of Congo. The glasses are from Murano, Italy. Is the European design. The Arabic writings and the architectural carvings are done by the experts from Morocco. The chandeliers are made in Egypt. And the combination is all about a collection of designs from the different walks of the world to bring about that one message, which is togetherness and unity. It is never mandatory for the women to pray from the mosque, but it is mandatory for them to pray. And therefore, either pray from home or they come and pray from the mosque. So usually the men's section is in front and the women's section is behind. And in terms of size, the men's section is always bigger and the women's section is always smaller. Yes. So this is how the women's section looks like. Actually, it gives you a better view of the entire mosque, and at the same time, you get, yes. At the same time, when you're down and you look up, it looks painted. When you come close here, you see it is hand carved, and then you can see the Arabic calligraphy on the chandeliers, which explains about the Arab design. Two 72 stairs to the top. You feel free to move on your pace. We have the first point, which is halfway, and then we have the final point, which is the end point. So halfway is 136, then the extreme top is 272. You walk according to your fitness.
How many minutes?
Yeah, you can put on your shoes. Okay. Yes. about 1,210 meters above sea level, which is almost 4,000 feet. When you're standing right over here, you see that most of the roads, they are all coming towards this very point, which actually looks like the center of the city. And this is the actual point, which is named Kampala. And the locals, we call it Old Kampala. Kampala simply stands for the hill of impalas, in that before the arrival of the British, this was a forest which had a lot of the antelopes known as the impalas. So the local people referred to this place as Akasozi Kampala, meaning the hill of impalas. When the British came, they built that little green roofed structure with a green window open, the green window closed, with a white tent in the corner. So that is called Fort Lugard. Fort Lugard is the fort of the British. The green. That small one after the mosque with a small white tent in the corner. You've seen it? Uh, it was from that point that Uganda was declared a British protectorate, and it was from that point that we had the first Uganda museum in the year 1908. 7 hills initially made up Kampala, 7 hills made up Rome, 7 hills made up Istanbul, 7 hills made up Bamberg in Germany. What makes the 7 hills of Kampala unique is the altitude, which I've just told you, and that makes Kampala to have 2 rain seasons with no dry season, meaning it is ever raining here. That's why we have a lot of green around Kampala. I want to show you the 7 hills of Kampala, and this is hill number 1, which is called Kampala Hill. The local people call it Old Kampala. Hill number 2 is that hill which is entirely green. That is Makerere Hill and Makerere University. That is the first university in East Africa, which was started 101 years ago. That was since 1922. It has taught about 5 presidents of East Africa: Mwai Kibaki of Kenya, Julius Nyerere Tanzania, Kagame Rwanda, Kabila Congo, and Milton Obote of Uganda. And this is our hill number 3. It is called Namirembe Hill. Namirembe comes from the word Mirembe, which means peace. And the big building you see on top is an Anglican cathedral, which is called St. Paul's Cathedral. And St. Paul's Cathedral is founded in 1915, opened in 1919. The hill is Namirembe, from the word Mirembe, which means peace. Hill number 4 is where we see the 2-tower building. The 2-tower building is called St. Mary's Cathedral. You can locally call it Lubaga Cathedral. Lubaga is Roman Catholic. It is the only African cathedral that has hosted 3 popes. That is Pope Paul VI, Pope John Paul II, and Pope Francis. And Uganda, the only African country to host 3 popes. This is our hill number 5. Hill number 5 is where we see the white building in the green area. That is called Mengo Palace, and that is where we find the Idi Amin's torture chambers, the prison which is said to have been used by Idi Amin and Milton Obote to torture and kill their political oppositions. Currently, the king doesn't stay there because of the dark history that happened during the 2 reigns of the 2 different kings of Uganda. So down here, the place is called Chisenyi. You see it is divided into 3 steps. We have this one here, we have the middle one, and then the other one. This is the area which is mainly dominated by the refugees from Somalia. Then we see the very many green houses on the same level with a congested street. And that is Uganda's biggest market, which is called Owino Market. Owino Market is the biggest market in Uganda. It is believed that it can host over 200,000 people on a daily basis. The football stadium is called Nakivubo Stadium. Nakivubo Stadium is under reconstruction. It was once our national football stadium, but currently it was being used by the local teams. We see the green building over the other side, and we see the very many white cars. That is the old taxi park. The old taxi park, we sometimes call it the organized chaos, because it has a lot of cars in one place. You wonder how they come in and how they go out. And behind, we see the green building, and then there is a 3-tower building with that 3-tower building is called the Hindu Temple. It is the one of the oldest temples here in Uganda. It is for the Indians. And then in the background, you see the orange building. That orange building is called the Arena Mall. It is one of the new malls we have here in Kampala. Back to our city center, this is called Nakasero Hill. And Nakasero Hill is the government institutional area. Nakasero comes from the word akasero, the basket. The tall building you're seeing right now is the Pension Towers. Pension Towers is built by the National Social Security Fund, the NSSF. And then we see the white building on the extreme side that is called the Pearl of Africa Hotel. It's a new hotel. And then we see the last tall building standing out alone, the white one, and that is Sheraton Hotel, which is Uganda's first 5-star hotel. All this hill is the downtown and the government institutions and a lot of embassies and ministries. Then our hill number 7 is behind the Pearl of Africa Hotel and the Pension Towers. It is where we see the 2 tall telecom masts, and that is called Kololo Hill. Kololo is mainly the diplomats and ambassadors. The key landmark on Kololo Hill is where we find the independence grounds of the country. That is where Uganda was granted her independence on the 9th of October 1962. Initially, Kampala was only those 7 hills: Kololo Hill, Nakasero Hill, Kampala Hill where we are standing, Mengo Hill for the King's Palace, St. Paul's Cathedral, Lubaga Hill, St. Mary's Cathedral, Lubaga Hill, and St. Paul's Cathedral, Namirembe Hill, Makerere Hill, and Makerere University. Those were the original 7 hills. Right now, Kampala stands on over 21 hills, and the population is estimated to be 2.6 million people that live in Kampala city. And that's all about Kampala for now.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
How did the hills grow from 7 to 21?
With let me first take you a little bit back.
Okay.
Initially, before independence, the administrative and commercial city of Uganda was Entebbe. Entebbe is being surrounded by the lake.
Yeah.
With the area being put on the standard of being a city, that means there's a lot of population. As the population grows, the city keeps on, the pressure of the population keeps on forcing the city to expand. So it kept on forcing the city to expand from the 7 and now to 21 hills. So how did the city expand? It is just the population pressure that led the city to expand from 7 to 21 now. Yes.
So that's enough history for today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.